Okay, today I'm talking with Vivian, who, by the way, I met kind of on the street, kind of in a Starbucks, but I like this because I saw him in a Starbucks, and then I was like walking, I was gonna leave, and then he came up to me and we had a nice little chat on the street that I found so interesting that I was like, wait, we need to continue this, I need to film this chat, and then here we are.
Yeah, thank you so much, Roman, for inviting me. And if you have questions about the local conditions, I'm happy to, debate on it.
So here's what we were talking about and what really intrigued me. So you made a comment about the noise, which you'll hear in this video, and you hear in pretty much all of my videos around India. It can be a bit noisy. And then we started talking about how you said that maybe India can be a bit unruly. I'm paraphrasing, but something like that. And I said I found it to be a bit more free than in the US, but you don't view it as freedom. And by the way, when I say more free, it's like within a certain context. Like, of course, there are issues in India, especially for women and women's rights. But in a way, I feel like Indians are more free because, like, rules in India are suggestions, and a lot of people don't take the suggestions. But you don't see that as freedom. You were saying you see it differently.
Yeah, Roman makes sense when she says rules are as suggestions, because we are able to break those rules, and we feel that we can break those rules, and therefore we go ahead and do it. However, I don't consider it freedom at all, because take for example, when we do our regular driving around the town every day, we all drive in gaps and spaces and kind of brackets, which makes us lose so much space, and we have statistically more than 25 to 30 million vehicles on our roads.
Wow.
And 90% of this is dominated by two-wheelers, and two-wheelers use their own space. Therefore, if they have two lanes and they drive or ride with gaps, and there's not enough gap to get through them, therefore it delays the entire city, thereby the entire city is losing its productivity in terms of revenue, etc. So it is a bigger grand design, which is what we are working for in terms of civic issues, but it's definitely not freedom. In my opinion, it does not need to be right, because if I leave this country and I come back, I do sometimes also think it's free in some sort, but honestly it's not freedom. When you do visit India temporarily, it seems like freedom, but again, I need not be right, it's just my opinion. If you were here to stay, you will feel this is more oppressive than freedom.
That's interesting. And of course, visiting a place as a tourist is totally different than living in a place, right? Like,
sure.
I breeze in and out. Like, I was even thinking about that, the idea of freedom, as I was walking here with respect to women's clothing. So here's an example. I cover up when I'm in India, even though in Bangalore I don't have to so much, but I was out with an Indian girl last night, and she was wearing like a tank top. I could see her bra, I could see a lot of it. She had on short shorts. And I said to her, I was like, oh my God, like, you can dress this way? And she was like, well, I can, but I get stares, but I don't care, But then in my mind, I was thinking, I don't want the stares, I'll cover up.
You get the stares anyway.
Well, I get the stares anyway, but it's a different type of stare. But then what I realized is, I can say that because I'm here for like a month and a half right now. I'll be here for 3 months, 4 months, and then I leave and go somewhere else where I can wear whatever I want and no one cares, right? So it's easy for me to say, oh, who cares? I'll throw on the scarf. I'd rather not be bothered, because that's temporary for me. That's not my whole existence. And so I understand her perspective, especially as a young girl who's in her 20s, who maybe wants to look cute and feels like looking cute is a tank top and shorts. And listen, when I was in my 20s, I wore even less at times, to look cute and to kind of express myself.
Yeah, in terms of dressing, Bangalore is quite progressive, because even in our school and college days, we had our friends who were girls who dressed quite liberally.
But is it looked down upon? Because she was saying that you can do it, but people kind of look at you like,
yeah, there are many aspects to it because Bangalore is one of the most modern cities in India. One among, not the most, but one among the most modern cities in India, and we have provocative dressing from the 80s, or at least the late 80s, since our school days. So we're used to it, and we kind of acknowledge it. However, Bangalore has an influx of the rest of India coming in now because of the opportunities it has. And these people who are not as used to it as us, who are originally from here, might, and we too might look, of course, but those who are not from here might look more, a little more maybe. So there are conditions that might lead to women thinking that they're being stared upon more than usual. But it is quite normal to dress liberally in Bangalore.
And by the way, when he says liberally and provocatively, I do want to add that India's version of like liberal and provocative is a very standard version of US dress, right? So just to be fair, but for India, it is provocative. Like when I saw her, my thought was, whoa, you can wear that, right? Like, I wouldn't wear that here, but just to give you an idea of what we're talking about, if you haven't been here.
Like the weekends in where, exactly around where we're sitting right now in Indranagar is extremely progressive. This entire street is filled with nightclubs, and it's more like a festival over the weekends where you see all kinds of people with all kinds of dressing and accepted in society.
So I want to get back to this idea of freedom, and India and the US, and I want to add something about when you were talking about the traffic. Let me just say, for people who have not been to India, the traffic here is amazing. When I say that people can break rules and that rules are suggestions, I've seen people driving the wrong way down a one-way street, and not by mistake, not like oops, but like no, there's a place they want to go and it's more convenient to just go a little bit the wrong way and then turn versus like to go all the way around. I've seen people run lights, all these things happen. Fair?
Yeah, so Roman thinks
and I'm not saying that makes it free necessarily.
No.
But it's like
no. This is in no means opposing what she thinks, but explaining that Roman thinks it's free. But like I explained earlier, it just makes it more chaotic for us and more frustrating for us because it is kind of directly affecting our health. Because of the frustration that it gives us when we drive. We sit in our vehicles, we leave our homes, and we see so much indiscipline that if you have any sort of discipline, you feel like you don't belong here. So if you continue with the indiscipline, then you're comfortable here, and that's not what we want. And and then Indians have a way of using an excuse that we have a mass population. That's just an excuse, because you go to China and you see how hardworking they are, and they've disciplined themselves, and they have safer and more disciplined traffic, and we don't have it, and we just use that as an excuse because we are a lazy people. We don't want discipline, and that's the truth. We boast of our cultural significance, and that is true. We are culturally significant, but we don't have any discipline whatsoever. We don't have hygiene in our cities, and it's all true because see. This is in no way me putting my country down, and I'm not a patriot. I'm not a patriot because I don't believe in borders. I believe in the one world, one existence, one universe, one multiverse. So I don't believe it's necessary to have patriotism. Maybe you can be patriotic to existence. So when people think it's the love for this place that I have, which makes me say that these are the facts that we face.
Now, when you say that India's lazy, right? Like, I feel like, but, okay, here's my but.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I'm from the US, so seeing something different appeals to me, right? And so when you say that Indians are lazy or can be lazy, sometimes I view it partially as a good thing, right? Because in the US, everyone's so focused on their jobs, they'll do anything, they're working like slaves, they get up early in the morning, they're there all times of the day and night, like there's no life. Whereas I feel like Indians, not all, of course, we're speaking in generalizations, but a lot of Indians have a very chill attitude. Like literally literally just the other day, I was trying to buy some coconuts on the side of the road. These guys could not be bothered even to sell me a coconut because they were eating lunch. They were like, literally, they were like, I'm eating? No. And then I saw other people come up. They wanted to buy coconuts too. They got the same treatment, right? They were like, actually, no. And I was like, wow, in the US, everyone is so driven by money and so all about work, 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 that in the US, someone wouldn't take the time. You could say maybe those guys were lazy, but maybe they had a work-life balance, you know? Like, so what do you think? I mean...
So again, it's perspectives, right? So I kind of, appreciate your analysis of the situation, but that's purely a choice of the coconut seller, because he might at another time when he didn't feel as hungry as the time you were there, might have opted to actually come and serve you. So it's probably just a day when he was extremely hungry, or I feel that that's not the laziness I'm actually speaking of, but in terms, including myself, all of us citizens seem to have, not the actual responsibility or the obligation to be courteous to one another. And this lack of courteousness is what we see with indiscipline. And this is obviously affecting our productivity. See, basically for all the viewers who are watching us right now, it's so important for us to, yourselves and us to understand that India doesn't have good quality of life. And this is what we're striving for. And when we say the US, everybody is actually, on their marks and doing things right. It's because they believe that in productivity and good quality of life. So we haven't even gotten there, okay? Because you can see, when you're a visitor, you're all right with it. But look at our streets, look at our hygiene conditions, look at the quality of our air, and all this is because of us. And we do this to ourselves. I feel that, okay, US is actually chemically also quite polluted. It's just that you don't see it. But here we do see it, and this affects us, okay? Like the placebo effect, it affects us directly because we see it. And the government or the people are not actually taking responsibility for it. But the media boasts of, superiority, spiritual superiority, etc. And we don't have quality of life. We are on the physical plane, and therefore quality of life is important. It's not to be ignored. It's not something we can be lazy about.
So I guess in what ways do you think that Indians are lazy, but maybe the US isn't? Or do you think the US Americans are also equally lazy and lacking?
No, it's like I made a sentence earlier. It's that we can break the rules because we can. Okay, and if we cannot break the rules, then we won't. This is the point. It's simple. I'm just simply putting this forward because in the US, I think maybe, because I don't know for sure, but maybe most of them don't want to break the rules, or maybe most of them want to, but they cannot. You see, when we have a system in place and we actually abide by it, then we are working toward it. We're not being lazy. And here, our laziness is accepted. By lazy, I mean not having discipline, because discipline takes effort. In life, in anything you want to do, starting with punctuality, which I don't have myself, okay, we need discipline to move forward. It's just how it works.
So is that the main thing? So you think if Indians were maybe more on time, followed the traffic rules?
To begin with, traffic will help us because it's something we experience every day, and our commute time will shorten, our productivity will increase, our courteousness and respect towards each other will increase, and these are important aspects of living. And I'm not saying we cannot be frustrated. I myself get frustrated quite a lot, and I have abandoned profanity in 2003, but getting out in the streets still makes me use the words fool, stupid and twit quite a lot, because I have to vent, and I don't use the honk since 2003 in India. I don't use the honk. That's almost 15 years of not using the honk at all, and I still can survive here, which means any one of us here can do it. And these honks are we're just off the main street, and there are houses on these streets and conversations we're having, and these honks are part of our conversation, and we don't need that because it just subconsciously adds to the frustration and we don't realize. And then, you know, these are the things that affect our health. You know, just to give you a glimpse of what, you know, the larger aspects of frustration that we face here are.
Wow.
Yeah, so these are all my opinions. I think, you know, if you ask another Indian, they might have another opinion.
Sure, everyone has a different opinion, but I liked hearing yours because it is so different than mine as a tourist, right?
Yes.
You know, I can't give an opinion based on living here and for years and growing up, you know, with it. And it's interesting to see, you know, I think like outsiders looking in versus living in somewhere, like to me, I'm like, wow, you can just do anything here that feels kind of like unrestricted in a way that feels free to me, but I can understand how it could be frustrating. But I'll also add, when I'm on the street, and granted, I see only what I see, but I don't see a lot of people who look frustrated to me, but that doesn't mean they aren't. So I'm making an assessment based on my observation, which isn't necessarily accurate, to be fair.
Possibly, because you might be seeing people who are actually not frustrated too, because we have so many people here,
right?
And there can be a majority of them who are frustrated, but they don't show it. But it does definitely affect them. So I think in terms of public health, this is a matter of concern. It is something that the whole population needs to own up to and work on, and like Roman said, when you're a visitor, your perspectives are entirely different, and I agree upon it, because you're here for a short time. But I have a request to all visitors, including extraterrestrials. If you are here, please advise us Indians with the right intention, because if you encourage us on what you see here and just write it off as, you know, casual, free, it just encourages us to do what we keep doing. If you encourage us to correct ourselves, you know, straight forward, tell us, including all the other Indians, that I'm sorry mate, what you're doing is not right, you're just making a whole lot of noise which you don't need to do, and you know, you're not disciplined. Tell us that, please, because that will help us, because we are Indians as a population very boastful, and we keep boasting about our superiority with various aspects, but you know, we don't have quality of life, and you can see it.
Alright, well, I appreciate this chat. By the way, he just threw in that extraterrestrial part so casually. I'm gonna add in, what you don't know is, before we had this chat as I'm setting up, he was like, you know, are you an extraterrestrial? I was like,
I feel
what?
that all the extraterrestrials come here to meet me, so Roman might be one of them, because I'm having this lovely conversation about what we can do to improve quality of life, and I feel that that might be a real concern for the good ETs.
Here's what I'm thinking. If he thinks all the extraterrestrials are coming to him, maybe he's one. Anyway.
I would love that if my memory comes back and I'm reminded that I am truly one, because we're one universe.
Alright, well, I appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed this. Make sure you subscribe. There's more to come. Maybe about ETs, maybe about pollution in India. Who knows? There's a lot more. So, I'll check you later.
Thank you.